You're listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
What were you going to say?
We already did the roundabout.
You were going to say, you're cute.
I was sitting here watching you do that, and I had like those silly butterflies that came up, and I was just watching you and got all like almost like shy. I was like, oh my God, he's so cute.
Do you get butterflies still?
Oh, yeah.
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 I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty grateful that we both kind of still are in love with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's very nice. Did you ever think it would happen?
What do you mean? Like before you, did I think this was something I was going to experience in life? Or after you, did I think it was possible that we would still be here?
No, I was thinking about it recently and I was like, I don't have an example of a healthy relationship to draw from. Like I've never had do you know what I mean? Conscious or subconscious. I don't have an example of what a healthy relationship looks like or how to be in a healthy relationship. And so I was just really, really grateful as I was thinking about it that you and I have managed to end up here. Do you know what I mean? We've managed to not just make it, but like we're here, we're healthy, we're happy, we're connected. Like our relationship is thriving, all of these things that I'm just really, really grateful for. And it wasn't guaranteed, right?
Oh, it still isn't guaranteed.
It was something that we obviously consciously worked on, but I think we had a lot of
Still
luck too.
Yeah, we definitely had some help.
Yeah. So sorry, I was just really grateful.
Yeah.
I still get butterflies sometimes too. I like just have
Do
this
you?
deep well of love and gratitude for you that comes over me sometimes.
I thought I was alone in the butterflies. I kind of felt like silly. I'm like, yeah, but
They
like
just
still
happen
happy.
differently for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I experience it a little bit different, but
Yeah. How do you know?
True.
Right?
Who knows?
Maybe we
experience it
them
exactly the same.
Exactly the same. And we just express it differently.
Interesting.
Right.
Thought-provoking.
So
So
we had an outlet to discuss those things.
we have an outlet. Yeah, we do. We have a podcast to discuss everything.
And here we go.
All the stuff.
Like there's so much with that. There's episodes that I am grateful that I get to just walk away from. Like
From the stuff that comes up.
It comes up and it's like really, really vulnerable to do it publicly.
Yeah.
Like there's processing with your partner and it goes through. It's like having awareness in yourself sometimes can feel like all eyes are on you. Like just your own awareness suddenly feel like everybody can see you. And then you have it a step further where you're discussing it with somebody and then you are being vulnerable out loud. And that is a courageous act. And that is a terrifying act. Sometimes you, like I've had instances where I'm careful who I'm vulnerable with, but there was times I was vulnerable and I still experience it. It's called vulnerability hangover, where then it's like, oh, and you're just like backtracking. You got to get dropping contacts after that.
We see that all the time when we have guests on the podcast, right? Somebody will come on the show and they'll share a bunch of stuff and be really open and raw and vulnerable, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And we're always really appreciative and grateful.
And
then they're like, they ghost us.
Yeah.
Like
Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Because it's like, it's one thing. It's like you're saying, vulnerability with yourself is challenging. Vulnerability with somebody else is, you're leveling up in that challenge. And how, was that me or you?
That was you, baby.
Oh, wow. That was my
your
throat.
frog.
My throat. I couldn't even tell this time. Wow. And then you have the public where you're saying it where whoever, how many, like there is no, like people are gonna hear this and it's oh my goodness. And that's a whole other level. So there's times that I'm definitely grateful that I can be like, okay, it's out there. And that was out loud. That was out loud. That happened out loud. And then I get to like also move away from it. So I did it, but I don't have to sit in it.
There's so many episodes that we just space, right?
Right. Well, I see. But you also have to go back and you're editing and you're sitting in it again, which probably isn't as hard when it's me that's vulnerable. But then when it's you that was like really vulnerable and then you have to go through and rehear it and you're like, and then you still put it out there. I think if I was the editor of the podcast, there would be a lot of episodes that never saw the light of day.
Yeah.
And you just do it. I think that's the reason that you do it too. Because I'd be like, scratch that one. Like, I don't know what happened. We didn't hit record. Or I would just be like, no, I don't
heard
like
this,
it.
I heard this thing today. It was that Elise Myers. So we follow her on social, right?
Yes.
And it wasn't even one of her posts. Somebody had snagged her audio and created some other thing. And the audio was like, how do you manage, I'll butcher it, so it doesn't really matter, but it's like, how do you manage your fear and anxiety? Like, meaning like in order to do things, like, how do you manage it?
Okay.
And the thing was like, she doesn't, she just does it anyways.
Yeah.
And I think about that oftentimes where like we're teaching yoga, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we started our in-person yoga classes a few weeks back, and it's really awesome and we love it and it's going really well. And I don't show externally all the fear that I'm facing and all the fear, like the fear that I'm dealing with and everything like that. Whereas you will very much share it externally. Like it's obvious that you're going through the process of the nerves and the anxiety. Like the first day that we were driving there, like you almost got sick. And
I thought I was going to throw up before
Yeah.
class. I was like,
all of that stuff is happening.
It was close. I think had you not brought that banana for me to have that little bit of soothing banana, I wouldn't have been able to teach. I'd have just puked.
But I'm feeling the same thing. Like I have all that fear and all that
Yeah.
anxiety and all of that like internal criticism and judgment that's taking place. And it's not to say you don't just do it anyways as well, because that's what you did, right? You
Totally just do it.
Exactly, right? You just do it.
Yeah. I don't get
know?
up there and be like, I'm going to throw up, people, but it'll be okay. Like I get up there and I just do it.
Like that's what we do with this podcast, right?
Yeah.
We face that anxiety and that fear of showing up vulnerably. Well, how do you do that? We just do it. We just show up,
Let's
do it the best that we can.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's hard.
Sometimes
we don't too, right?
Yeah. Sometimes we're like, this, I just cannot. And we
Yeah.
listen to that, which is good. So I've been trying so hard to not put my things on you and like, just like let things go, not talk. However, like I haven't reached for your face today. You've had an eyelash that I've watched work its way.
Oh, wow.
And I've been like trying to be like, you have a wish. You have a wish. And I've been good at like not.
So now you saved it for the podcast?
Well, this
So we
is
can
just where
clusterfuck our way
this
through
is
this
just
for the
where
next
oh, it's
15
right
minutes?
here. It's
On
right
this
there.
side?
Yeah. Just like, okay. Did it get on your finger? Because I can't see it. Make a wish in the air. Because this is like taken my, see, you felt it, didn't you?
I made the wish.
See, this has taken up all my bandwidth of, so now I'm like, eyelash must make a wish.
Not addressing
I
it.
can't like,
Mole.
exactly. I can't like that. That's all I could take. That's all I could take. This is all of my effort is here. Just doing it.
You
So
did it.
now the eyelash is like, we got to make a wish right now.
You did it. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
So grateful you did it.
I love wishes.
Yeah.
I love wishes.
What do you think it is about the wish that you love?
Possibility, hope,
Right.
that spark, that good intention, put it out there. Wishes are just beautiful.
Magic.
It's so magic. Wishes on dandelions, eyelashes, when your necklace chains goes,
Shooting
stars, like candles. Any opportunity for a wish, I make a wish. And then you just let it go. Just make a wish and send it off. And then off you go.
What are we getting into today, babe?
I was talking about wishes. I wish.
No, you and I have had an interesting couple of days. So over the past few days, I went on the annual father and son camping trip with our son. And it's something that we do. I was trying to think while we were up there, how long have we done it? 4 years, 5 years?
Since he was little and had a munchkin voice.
I know, but like how little? Like 10 or 11? I feel like it's only been 4 or 5 years.
Something like that. Yeah.
Right.
He's probably 11 or 12.
Anyways, and he's such a man now.
Yeah. He was little though.
I
It
know.
seemed like, but
He was little.
I think it's when he started his growth spurt and he hasn't stopped yet.
Right.
And so he was like under my chin when you guys started and now I'm under his.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, we just got back from that trip, and we went up there for 2 days and had a wonderful time. But it also gives me ample time to reconnect to nature and to just be present in doing nothing. Because it's like we're not busy doing stuff the entire time. There's a lot of downtime. And he has a hard time sitting still, which is fine. And I used to feel like the need to, I remember I was thinking about that this weekend when we were up there. When we first went up there, I felt like all the anxiety of not, it's not necessarily engaging with him, but like not having something, right? Like I had to have something to do, something to, like it was always, I felt really bad about just sitting there.
Yeah.
And then what are we doing? We're not doing anything. Like I felt really bad about that. And I would have all that anxiety. And this time I was just so content to sit and just kind of watch him do what he does. And I mean, because he has fun.
He's comfortable outside. He likes it outside.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah. And it was just so wonderful. But the reason I bring it up is because you and I both did a lot of processing over the last couple of days as we had some time apart from each other.
Yes. And
you were home, I'm assuming, right? Like you said.
I was home alone. That was the show. It was beautiful. I had
clarification. The show Home Alone.
Because then I had like, nature's great. I want to be in the mountains. I like nature. I would have loved to be up there with you, but I love that you guys do that, right? I love that that's just you guys, just the guy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the house to myself without obligation to do anything. I didn't have things that I had to be doing. Yeah. I just had time for whatever I wanted to be doing. Like, oh my God.
Didn't quite know how to contain yourself there.
I'm sorry. It was just like there was so much work and so much processing that happened, and we can get into that, but I am like, I needed that recharge so bad and it feels so good. Like I didn't have to worry about like how anything that I was going to do was affecting anybody else, making anything else was taken care of. If I was going to be causing, like, it was just me. I got to do whatever I wanted. I got to wear whatever I wanted, which wasn't a lot. And it was fine. And I could open the curtains if I wanted or not. It wasn't like, haha. But the only thing I had to do was like feed the dog and let the dog out and take care of the dog. And so I got to listen to whatever music I wanted. I got to listen to whatever volume I wanted. That music box, do you remember that speaker box? That one that was sitting in the dining room for a while?
Yes.
Yes. Did we end up getting rid of that?
Maybe.
I think we did. And I think I said it was okay. And I was like, oh, you know how I can make this louder? So I was trying to find it because I was just feeling it and I wanted the music loud. And I couldn't quite get it loud enough because I couldn't find that, but I let it go. But I got to listen to like whatever I wanted. So whether I was listening to like whatever I wanted at whatever volume. And sometimes I was chanting and sometimes I was just rocking
Did it feel comfortable?
It felt amazing.
Yeah.
My body needed that recharge. It just needed it. It felt so good. I would like do whatever I wanted whenever I wanted. And the dog got up in the night. I was flipping on lights so she could see and I could see. And even though it was like tiring, there was just, I didn't feel like I had to tiptoe around. I could just like, and then so much. I like to talk to myself. I process. So do you, because I watch you when you're like working on the computer and you'll sit there and you get in the flow. You have a conversation too. But I've had all these great conversations and then I've had like all of this internal work. And then I was listening to my audiobook, everything. I got to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. And the house got clean and I just felt I was doing yoga and being outside and being inside. And it was so good. I'm in such a good mood.
It's so different than years past when him and I have gone on these trips, huh?
Yeah. It's quite a bit different.
How does that feel?
I feel fantastic. Fantastic. Well, it's because I was always worried,
Yeah.
I always had to I was worried. And what if,
Yeah.
I didn't worry. I just
didn't have that anxiety
but
this
I
time.
also had help. And that's a story that we'll get into.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's get into it.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about you stuff too.
You had something, right? Yeah. You had help.
I feel like I'm monopolizing this call because I got this call. Why is it a call?
The Zoom call that we're on.
Okay. I feel like I'm just monopolizing it because I'm like, I feel good. I feel charged. I got charged. I filled my cups. Not just one cup. I like have cups on reserve. I was walking around just like, ooh, here's some cups for Steph. I like filled my cups. So I feel good.
That's so awesome. That makes me so happy.
Right?
You're not monopolizing the conversation.
Yeah.
If you were the editor of this podcast,
Did I
you would
kick
realize that, oh, damn.
Was that your blister?
No, that's okay. We're playing footsies under the table. I'm fine. You didn't hurt my blister. Anyways, talk, please. You're not monopolizing the conversation at all. I'm anxiously excited to hear what comes up. I want to know, like you said, that you had something that you were going to be open to discussing on the podcast. And you didn't tell me what it was, which tells me that it's probably intense for you. And so now we get to do that, or something else, of course, right?
Okay, I'll do my best. Here we go. So I've been, I don't need to give a bunch of backstory. That's the thing is when I go to talk about something, then I feel like, oh, I have to give you context because then you want to understand what I'm saying.
Right.
And I have to give all this. I have to over-explain.
And don't forget about them. Just
and
talk
then,
to me.
right. And then even if like that's the case, like what, I don't have to over-explain anything.
No.
I don't have to. I can just, I've been working.
What? Okay. Blowing out your candle wish over there. I've been working. Oh.
What's that? Disapirioso or something?
Disapirioso.
I don't know. I'm trying to do a spell.
Here it comes.
So it's intertwined. I have been working on I have been working on finding, like, for instances, wow, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. Jesus, I'm about to be vulnerable. I've been working on my, wow, I cannot say it. Jesus Christ. So let's just talk about trauma. That's easier. No, I'm just kidding. I have a connection with earth energy, yes, and with plants and animals, and then I feel connections to goddesses and is it deities or deities? I always say it wrong, and then you're like, what?
Deities.
So, deities, and
unless it's a deity that's on a diet, and then it's a deity.
It's a deity. Is that how they got diabetes? Diabetes. Okay, I'm making really dumb jokes because I'm uncomfortable, because this is hard, because I feel I'm in the process of this. I don't know exactly what it means. I'm trying really hard, and it is a deep, deep, deep wound, and I'm having a really hard time the amount of trust trauma that I have here is so deep, and in order to protect me from that, it's the fear of being judged. So I'm like, how judged I'm going to be for this. So I'm too worried about being judged so that I don't have to really look at the trust wound that I have here and the that I have to move into. So I'm struggling to talk. So connection with archangels. And it was a while ago. Something was going on, and I was, again, it's another one of those about to break. I was at a loss. I didn't know what to do. And I was full of all kinds of toxic emotions. And I was just having such a hard time. And when things have been really intense in the past, I have I'll call out to like Archangel Michael. I'll call out to Archangel Raphael for healing. I'll call out, but it's not often. And it's rarely for me. The only times that I've talked to Archangel Raphael for me is when I had lumps, when I found lumps. And I was then, but it's always for somebody else because I don't want to, take up their time. I don't want to take their energy. That can be for somebody else. But I have been completely, I used to have like faith to a point, right? I used to have, faith to a point and like fear, the Christianity dogma, the whole, not church, but on my own. But it always just felt like crappy, it felt like I was shameful, felt like I always had to repent, felt like I was always, in trouble and like begging for forgiveness and realizing that I wasn't worth love because of all these things. And just having such a challenging time, but feeling like I have to make up for everything that I've done. I'm so wrong. And how do I earn this love? And I can never earn it because I'm really horrible and all of this thing. But I still like, that was my faith. I'm like that. And so then I hit a limit of where I stopped. I'm like, I don't believe in any of that. I don't believe in any of that. So I had connection to still, like, I never lost my connection to like earth and spirits. I just lost my connection to
a higher power.
I was like, it's all power. There's no higher power.
Mm-hmm.
And just completely like, whoom, like it wasn't even just like a connection. It was so gone. And every once in a while I would have a longing for it. Every once in a while I would have a longing for it. But I would also shut it off. And anything to do with like, there was also like the masculinity part of it. Cause it's like,
God's super
Father
masculine
in heaven. And I'm like, fuck that. None of that. Definitely can't count on any of that energy. So that was just like, I didn't just lose it. It just wasn't there. And it was like free. And I don't have that. And I still don't, like, there's that connection isn't there. I don't think it's, I always thought it's not shameful. It's not hateful. There's not a, I love you if. I don't believe in that kind of God. I don't believe in that kind of thing. But that's everything that's out there. You are only worthy if. Love unconditionally if. I'm like, that. Fuck the ifs. There's no ifs. There's not. So it just was like, I'm done with that. I'm not participating in that. And the belief was just gone. But this moment when I was at this like toxic emotions that I was mentioning and having this horrible, like, I noticed that my hands were like in a prayer position and I was standing and they were up above my head and I was leaning up and I was like, please help me. I just kept saying, please help me. And then I asked archangels for the help on that.
When was this? Back in the day?
It was last summer.
Okay.
It was last summer. We talked about it a little bit on our walk when I was like, because I also felt judged from that because I still had part of the faith when we got together and you did not. And it always felt very judged for that. We can get into that later. We cannot. However, I don't know whether you were actually judging me that way. I think you were, but whether you were or not, I don't know. And it doesn't matter right now.
Yeah.
So I was, but anyways, I was asking and then things started getting better and I got help in that moment. And then it was like, I had this moment of what, I'd been toying around with this idea of like, I want something to turn to. I want something. I want to know what a higher power is. I want to know, like, I feel something like, who am I praying to? Who am I? Cause I know it's not like God in heaven. I know that that's not a thing. I know that it's not some, white dude on a throne waiting to see if, I'm worthy or not. I don't buy that shit.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what it was, but I'm like, everything, like there were things about certain things that would feel right, but not all of it. And I felt like if I don't believe all of it, then I can't believe any of it. So nothing like felt freeing. There was nothing that I could say. Like it wasn't worth lying to myself. There was nothing I could say. Right. had to get a drink. I just wanted something to connect to. And then as I got help in that moment and things started lifting, I was realizing like, if there's archangels, then it comes from something. There's all these things, but it's got to come from something. So I think there's something out there, but I don't know what it is. I think there's something, but I don't know what it is. So I was toying with this, and then I talked to you about that, and I was like, I want to find out what it is for me, and I don't want you to judge. And that was a hard conversation. I was so scared. And then you listened to Elizabeth Gilbert on Glennon Doyle's podcast.
Yes.
And had your own connection. And now you're on your own journey with that. And then I felt like you were, for one, that was like, what? Because I felt like that was something that you were very much, we believe in the universe, but we don't believe in a higher power. Believe in the universe, but there's not like, anyways. So I thought that was cool for you. And then it was like the opposite end, where you were like telling me, I could reach out to your what it was. And I'm like, that's not mine. No. And I could still, but then it was so funny because I was like, don't judge me for this. And then it turned to where you were like, come on this way. And I'm like, I can't go. I didn't see what the connection was. All right. So I hadn't figured it out. I figured it out when you guys were gone, and I was in the hot tub in the dark, be somewhere between 5 and 6 a.m. And I was having a conversation that was out loud too. So if any neighbors were out there, like, she's batshit crazy, she's talking to herself. I wasn't talking to myself. And I'm batshit crazy. It's totally fine. I'm cool with that.
What's your phone just tell you?
Tell Craig something wonderful about himself.
I thought it was going to be one for you. Anyways, you're out in the hot tub.
Yeah. So kind of back it up. We were listening to our teachers are talking about, when they're saying this thing, God, if you are real, if that's what you're going to call. I will never be able to say God and feel any kind of connection. I feel immediate repulsion when that word comes out of my mouth. I'm like, I can say gods, goddesses, but when I hear God, I think of the Christianity, the
patriarchy.
It just makes me sick.
Yeah.
I cannot. There's like, it just like, hell no. So I started trying to play with like source, because I wanted to have a name. Like, well, you don't need to have a name. I'm like, I want to call to something. I want to say something. I want to say a name. I want to have a connection. I can feel it. I want to know what to call it, So they were talking about that, saying, if you were real, then I need you in this moment. And before that, I had done that with fear. And then I really got on it again and was like, I need help. I don't want this to control me anymore.
What do you mean you had done it with fear? Reached out, asked
to
for
take
help
the
in
fear.
fear? Okay.
To take the fear that plagues me, the fear that is not mine, the fear that has been taught to me from a very young age to be afraid of everything, to everyone, and to only trust those that I can't trust, because and I have to be afraid of even reaching out for help. And then when I did reach out for help, that help hurt, which emphasized more. So like fear. What if something happens? I was
help me with this fear.
Help me with this fear. I don't want to live in this fear. Like, yeah. How do you do things? You do it anyway. I still did things anyways, but I was plagued by fear. Still plagued by fear. That's something that is like my wound that I'm healing. And it's not my wound. I'm not going to own that. That is the wound that I am healing. That is the wound that is not mine, that I'm shedding. But it's crippling, because then you're a mom, right? And then your children, they're everything. And so then when you have this fear that was instilled in you, and then all these shitty things happen, and then you have kids, and then you're like, oh my God, how do I keep them alive? So it just amplified to.
So take us back to the hot tub. I'm trying to help. I'm sorry. I'm not.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So before the hot tub,
okay.
I'm not going to there yet. So I've been asking, and I don't feel that when I asked, I got the help. I feel that it got worse. And
this was recent too.
This was recent. I asked you not to leave because I was having such a, I was in chaos inside. And I'm like, I don't ask you not to leave.
This was for like I just was going to jujitsu. It wasn't Craig, don't leave. I
didn't even hear that.
Yeah, I was just going to jujitsu. It was like a Tuesday and I was going to class.
Yeah. It was on the 11th. There was funky energies that day. There was planetary things. That was just an energy day and I could feel something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want you to leave, but I understand if you do. Because I wasn't going to hold you to my fear, but it was intense. And I wasn't getting help. My fear was getting worse. And then like, also, I don't ask you to not go to jujitsu.
Yeah, yeah.
So I asked and you left.
And I went.
And I was like, it'll be okay. I was destroyed. I cried. And I prayed for you in a sense the entire time, keep you safe. And I was doing like trying so hard with this energy and to be calm and to find calmness in myself. And I was terrified. Like I was sobbing the entire time. And I had to try and like pull it together. And then Asher came upstairs and he's like, what's wrong? I said, I'm just having a hard day, bud. I'm feeling a lot right now. Because I wasn't like, nothing, but also I wasn't going to be like, I'm scared something's going to go wrong. And I knew everything was going to be fine. And so I was like asking, take the fear and protect. And then Asher wanted to leave. He wanted to go hang out at his friends. And I was like, I am not going to put this on him. So it's like, absolutely, bud, And I'm like, what if this is the, so I'm again, like this is amped up and I'm like, I've got to let this go. I've got to let this go. I am monopolizing this whole goddamn podcast.
Baby, keep going.
So I drive him and he gets to go hang out and I'm feeling all of these things. And I'm also getting pissed because I reached out and I asked for help. And of course, nothing is there.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to not be mad. I'm trying to not because I'm like, there's other things to do. You can't get mad every time you don't get your way, So I'm trying to. So
you're angry at the higher power you reached out to.
And I'm angry because I reached out. I'm angry that like I knew better than to reach out. I knew better than to ask for help. Do it yourself. Take care of stuff. I could have, and then I was started like, I should have made you stay. I'm like,
didn't we just do a whole episode on don't ask for help?
Yeah. Well, anyways, this is an ongoing thing, Craig. Okay. It's going to be a process. So I'm losing my train of thought now. Anyways, you came back. So everything was fine. He was fine. And I'm just like trying to be okay. Like I've asked for it again. I was sitting, I come up to like my altar every day and I talk to goddesses and I'm still trying to talk to creator. And that's what I have felt. I'm like creator because it's my creator. It's my creator. Doesn't have to be your creator. There's nobody else's. My creator is loving. My creator loves all. My creator, right? And anybody can share in my creator, but nobody has to share in my creator.
Yeah.
Mine's just, I'm like, that's what I believe. And then I'm still like reserved. And I even like had the awareness of like how damaging it is for a child when the person that is supposed to protect them and where they're supposed to have trust is where trust is lost. And so this just keeps going, the spiraling, okay? I'm working on childhood trauma. I'm working on these trust wounds, on being able to ask for help. And it hits me later. I'm like, what if, I said, which prayer got answered? The fear didn't get answered. I said, but maybe something was going to happen. And it was taken care of. So if something didn't, I had to ask for help. And as I'm sitting there, so I'm like, you didn't take the fare, but did you make it so everybody was safe? And then my phone started going, and I'm like, thank you. That's scary. And thank you. So I'm grateful. Like, also when I say stay home, like maybe you should, because, you made the angels work that day to keep you all safe. Just kidding. That was my bringing in humor. Also not kidding. Right? And so I was grateful that if there was a prayer to be answered, that was the one. It was keeping you guys safe.
Yeah.
So I'm in the hot tub and it's dark and I'm not going to get on my phone. I can't read because it's dark. And I'm just sitting out there and I'm like,
what am I doing?
What am I doing? I'm like, I cannot not have something. Like,
yeah.
just sit there. I'm
to be left alone with your thoughts.
I'm like, what do I do? Like, what do I do? So for a little bit, I was like doing some yoga in there. I'm like doing some yoga in the water.
Stretching, yeah.
Yeah. And then things just started shifting. And it was a whole long process. And to trust was broken from a very young age to me in horrible ways. I have not been able to trust. I learned to not trust as a child. And I learned that I was wrong. So when I shed that I was wrong, I still couldn't trust. And to try and trust in something loving me and something protecting me, I can't connect to that. I can trust that something would judge me and something would like be mad at me and make me pay. But just something that would just love me and not hurt me, I can't trust that. And so I had that like realization of like, I can't even, like, this trust wound is so, that I can't even trust in a higher power or a fictional thing. However, I can't even trust in a make-believe. I can't even trust in an energy. And because I'm doing so much work, and it was like, now look at your human relationships. So my trust issues, my fear of commitment, and the way that I have chosen people that were not untrustworthy, how much of that was also a conscious choice in a way to, because if somebody's untrustworthy, then I don't have to worry about getting close. I don't have to worry about trusting. I don't have to worry about that deep fear of intimacy or trust and however it looks, because
they're untrustworthy.
And I'm like, and it just
trust is already off the table.
Hit me. I'm like, if I can't trust in a creator, then people around me, it might be me. So I just like, and I'm not able to verbalize the effect that it was, because I can see that it's not hitting. I can hear the words that I'm saying and it's not hitting. Just the realization that it is so hard. I'm really sad for me that I got broken that bad as a kid. But I'm really happy that I have that awareness and I get to look at that. And I was also asked, I'm like, please. So then I had another conversation of like, I see that I can't trust. I don't know how to trust, but I keep showing up and I keep trying. Please help me with fear this weekend. Please take it. I don't want to be controlled by it. And keep them safe. I want to be allowed to ask for help. I want to be allowed to ask and not feel like I want to be helped without it taking from anybody else. Like, there's enough help to go around. I want to be helped without it taken. I want to not be afraid, and I want you guys to be safe. I want to not be afraid and you guys to be safe. And I don't want to have to be punished for this. I don't want to have to pay more than I can pay. I just want to say, help me and be loved enough to be. And it's so scary. And it just like like crunches my insides, but I did. And I had awareness this whole time. I even had thoughts about something happening with you guys that was actually happening. And I didn't get lost in the fear, and you were okay. And I'm like, that is crazy. I wonder if it was at the same time.
Probably.
Like, that is so amazing. Like, I wasn't lost in fear. You guys were okay. And I keep showing up and saying, I don't know how to do this and I'm scared, but I'm trying. I'm trying to trust. I'm trying to trust you. And I understand that that's going to look different. And it shouldn't have to cost me my... I don't have to pay for that with pain. I don't have to pay for it with my body. I don't have to pay for it with things being hurt or going wrong. I don't have to pay for that. And so it's just like opening up so much. And when you're opening up all that, you also get to start seeing where all these agreements were made. So all of these awarenesses that I haven't been having are coming through, and that I get to say, I'm changing these patterns. I'm changing these patterns. I'm scared and this hurts, and I'm changing my patterns, and I'm supported. And that's scary. And anyways, that's like so much of that. So I've been liberated and supported and loved and terrified and worked this entire weekend and been facing traumas and really ugly, dirty traumas that nobody should have to look at, but sometimes people have to look at them and feel them. And I get to say, no, I just get to get off of me. And it's hard, and I'm scared, and I need help, and I get to get help, and it's still really fucking hard to accept help. It's like, let me help you, or forcing help. Like getting help that you didn't even ask for that you have to take, because like all of it, like help just fucking sucks. It sucks, and it's dirty, and it's gross, and I'm like, that doesn't have to be my experience anymore.
No. You're worthy.
So health is loving and supportive, and it doesn't cost. And that's really, really hard to believe. And then I'm like, well, if I can't even trust God, no wonder. Like, I can't trust, can't even say that word. So like I'm sorry, my trust issues are deep, and it's going to be a while, but I'm working on them. So like, that's like, I don't know. There's a lot to look at, a lot to unpack. And then, had to look at where I see me. Anyways.
Did it feel good to be loved?
I'm still trying, but yeah, I'm still trying. I still haven't embodied it completely, but I am willing to try now. So am I sitting in that feeling of, oh, I feel so loved? Like, as soon as I say that, I immediately leave my body. Yeah. I can't feel that yet, but I'm working there. And it's scary and it's hard. And I just told a whole bunch of things, and I was really, really vulnerable. And I'm kind of scared right now. Yeah. Yeah.
It's way scary.
Yeah.
It's way scary to be so open and vulnerable and allow like your trust to be placed in something, an energy or into someone. Yeah.
I'm committed to the trying process.
That's
huge. I don't have to be perfect. I'm not that. I'm committed to trying.
That's so huge.
I'm committed to showing up.
I think about this so much when it comes to help, where it's like we will allow it in as long as we can control it.
Yeah.
Right. I will let you help me as long as I'm in control of what that help looks like. And it's like help, can be immediately replaced with trust. Trust can be immediately replaced with love. Where it's
I hadn't made it that far in the realization.
I will let you help me, which means there has to be a little bit of trust involved. Right. And then in order for me to trust you, in order for you to help me, like it all just comes back down to love. Right. And it's like I can control it and I can allow it in as long as it's under the circumstances that I feel comfortable in the set and setting. Just literally however I can control all of it is the only way that it feels safe for me. And then to just like open up to the thing that you can't control. Right? The love of the universe that is uncontrollable, the thing that is too big to control, right? It's everything and all at once. There's no control to it. It's chaos, and yet it's this unending flow of love that you are worthy of receiving. It's really hard.
I think it feels impossible.
It does.
And that's not even like how, we're taught it. Like the trauma that comes, it's all loving if you are good.
Love feels impossible. You mean something or someone, or I am worthy of just like legitimately unconditional, without condition. You aren't placing anything on it.
Yeah.
The mere existence of me being here and now and open, and like I am not just I'm receiving that. You're talking crazy. That's impossible.
Crazy.
Love is always conditional. Love always has a price.
Right.
And yet it doesn't.
Even God will send you to hell if you're not,
Yeah. Even when it comes, like I think about,
Almighty.
We tell ourselves that we love our children unconditionally.
Yeah.
And yet that is challenged over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Our children become these autonomous creatures that trigger the fuck out of us and challenge that unconditional love. So there's like a part of our wiring that even in that instance is still like, it's not to say we stop loving our children, but yet we butt up against the unconditionality of it all over and over and over again. And to be able to just sit back and receive it, I think that takes a lifetime of practice.
Just like even knowing that that being mad at someone or mad at a situation does not mean there's an absence of love.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how it was also shown.
Mm-hmm.
If you make me mad, this is going to happen. If you make God mad, this is going to happen. So love, it's really hard to even allow that in times of conflict, so when your children are triggering you and you have this, like anything switches and like that love is there. It's like, I'm ready to, I will immediately destroy the world for you. It's like, it's like trying to coexist in that and to believe, I don't know. This is, I said, I'm still,
you're open to it.
I'm open to it. And it's really, really difficult because love, thinking about being loved like that, it feels gross. It makes me feel like I'm like, just like, oh, don't fucking touch me.
It's dangerous.
It's just, it's literally, it's like a repulse. Like, I just like, oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. It makes me want to like, it makes me want to just like pull my skin off. Because that would hurt less. And I wouldn't have to feel it. So stepping into this is hard.
You're doing so good.
And I'm really kind of embarrassed right now too. Because I'm like, oh, it's too much. Now shame, judgment, shame. Cover up these emotions. It's too much. You can't handle this. Bring in the shame. Bring in the judgment.
You're doing so
I can
good.
get out of it. Yeah.
Did anything come to you when it came to some sort of title, name, thing, anything that you could?
Right now, creator is what it is. Creator's what it is. And there's goddesses that I'm working with. And then there's like, there's just energy everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And so I like the thing that happened was another one that I'm kind of like nervous to. It's everything. Right? Because these are like little boxes that humans have put on it that has to be this or this or this. And I'm like, well, if it's not all of it, then it's not this. So I can't call it this. If it's not all of it, then it's not this. I wanted a place to fit, a place to belong, a place that I could like resonate, because I don't want to pretend to have that connection. I want to feel it in my bones. I want to feel it. I want to believe it.
Yeah.
I want to have that like, and then it was just like, it's everything. It is all the things. It's all the things. It's all the things, it's all the parts that you believe is what it is. And the parts that you don't, or that don't feel right, that's not what it is. It's all the things that feel good inside. It's all the things that I have the connection to. It is the trees. It is the water. It is the mountains. It is the energy around. It is the creator. It is the universe. It is the goddesses. It is the gods. It is the archangels. It's all of it is, it's all of it. And then I was thinking, I'm like, what if, so is it like one that has many faces, like Hinduism? It's the one God, but it has many faces, like the, or is it that it is all true and it's all different areas? Like, we can believe in this, we can believe in what's on the left, and we can believe in what's on the right.
Yeah.
But we're coming from, I don't know. I had all these things that I can't even articulate now, but I was articulating them. So like the profoundness that was happening, I just can't articulate them on the podcast. And like, it's all the things, it's just coming from different areas, or maybe it's all the same area because everything is so grand. I don't know how to articulate it. Creators where I'm at. Is it going to be more? Maybe. Is it going to be something else? Maybe. Is it going to be creator forever? Maybe. I don't know. Is this all going to change again tomorrow? Maybe. This is what I'm feeling right now. That's what I'm leaning into right now.
Sounds like you had a spiritual experience this weekend, love.
Very much. You talk now. I'm going to drink tea and sit here and grimace. Out of fear that I'm okay.
You did so good.
I did. I know. Thank you.
Not just talking on the podcast and sharing all of this stuff that's really vulnerable and difficult for you to share. And I think a lot of people have that struggle.
Yeah.
Right? Coming to terms with what creator is to them, or their connection to a higher power, or the connection to more.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Some people never do it. I don't even, like, this is the thing too, right? I think about our healing, and I think about there's a part of it that for me in the last little bit, and that means like, I don't even know, like maybe the last 2 years, being able to let go and believe in something greater than myself. And that that's taken longer than 2 years. That's taken quite a few years, maybe 41 years. But that concept and idea, because we both have religious trauma in a sense, even if it's not necessarily ours, right? But okay, I'm getting lost. What am I trying to articulate and express? I think it is a necessary part of a human, like an individual person's evolution, to eventually get to the point in their evolution where they are able to let go and believe in something greater than themselves. Let go and believe into this thing that we're talking about, in this unconditional love. Mm. And I think until they do that, there will always be a point of contention. There's like this resistant point of however it manifests, where it's not to say they won't ever get past it, but that's what I'm saying, is they won't ever get past it. There comes a point in healing, growth, life, where we will continually butt up against the same things over and over and over and over and over again. And it's like, how do we stop those patterns? How do we stop those cycles? How do we there just comes a point where you butt up against like the edge of the fucking universe, and you just have to take the leap of faith into something's going to catch me, and I can't see what it is. And I think that is part of the growth of a human, that maybe that's the whole ball of wax right there, where until we get to that point where we open up and we take that leap, like I can just visually see you on the edge of the earth, and it's like this technicolor water flowing over the edge of this cliff and this waterfall, and above you is just nothing but galaxy, and you're like, I have to now go and hope that something's going to catch me. And it's so hard. And then something catches you.
And I'm still not, I'm like, oh no, am I gonna like, like, hold on, let me like.
Yeah. And then it's like you do it once and it makes it easier to do it the next time and the next time and the next time. And to trust that when you do make that leap, something will be there to catch you.
You gave me awareness that I didn't see with that. You called it unconditional love. It says I believe there's something greater than themselves. I'm like, I've always like believed that. Like universe, I felt the universal energy. I thought everything is connected, energy everywhere. I've always felt energy. I've always felt everywhere. And I like that it's not good or bad. It just is. That whole thing that felt so freeing too, because it was just acceptance. Didn't matter if it was good or bad. It was just, it was. So I didn't have to, it didn't feel loving. It felt indifferent. And I could handle indifference. But the love, I couldn't. You're like, it's unconditional love. I'm like, whoa. Hold up. I didn't have those words.
Yeah.
I can accept indifference. I can accept invisibility. I can't be insane and be in love. Woof. I will fucking run.
Yeah. And then whatever it is, will just sit there and wait for you. Right? It'll always be there.
I'm still working on that.
We might have a spiritual podcast on our hands. If only we had some sign of that, right? Fully love was in the title of the podcast.
Energy is love.
Well, baby, I'm really proud of you. And I'm really, really excited. Like there's a part of me from the perspective of just your partner and the growth of our life together and where we're at right now and everything that we're doing and all the work that we've done and all this kind of stuff. It's just like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you to be open to this and to start experiencing this. I think
no pressure.
There isn't any
I go
pressure.
at my pace. And if I'm ever only just willing to be like open to trying, if that's as deep as I go with this, then that's okay.
Yeah.
And if
there is no pressure.
I can't go beyond that right now. Like I'm okay with where I am and I'll go wherever it's supposed to go. I'm not going to try and guess where I'm supposed to go or try and see or have a goal.
Are you just going to trust?
Oh God. That's what I'm doing, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. I guess I'm doing better than I thought.
I just trust wherever you're going to end up wherever you're supposed to end up.
Yeah, I guess I'm
trusting. Wherever you're
trusting.
supposed to go. Jumped into the river of unconditional love.
Holy shit.
Now you're on this
They're like, you're already doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. That actually doesn't scare me for some reason. I don't know if I just left my body. I might have just left my body. I might have just checked out. Like suddenly I'm fine. We can talk about this all day. Steph has left the building.
Oh my goodness. I might have just left my body. Yep. Okay. Yep. Body. I just left it actually.
I'm not in my body right now. That's okay.
Oh, well, that's not what I expected. I knew you had some big awareness, and I'm really grateful that that's what it was. It's a good hot tub, huh?
Yeah. I haven't, I'd been out there at dark with you, but you go out there all the time. And there's also like that part of where if I happen to be up, I don't want to disturb you. And that's still a thing. I don't want to disturb you. I don't want to take away from your time.
Yeah.
But we might have to get I don't know, maybe we can do some shares. It's like timeshares.
A timeshare hot tub.
Maybe we split the days. So if I'm up, I can achieve it. And if you're up, you can achieve it.
Yeah.
That way it's not, I get in it when it's still dark in the morning when you guys are camping once a year, And then I slept in today. Oh my God. I was up super late.
Yeah.
But I slept in. I got sleep today.
Yeah, you did.
After my throat's making that sound again.
You got some peace.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you're welcome to the hot tub. It's not my hot tub. It's our hot tub. It's our timeshare hot tub.
Yeah. It's our timeshare hot tub. Is it our time traveling hot tub?
Maybe. There's definitely some
There's
work
a
that
movie
takes
called
place.
that.
There
Isn't
is
there? There's
time
like
traveling
the
hot tub.
hot tub
That's
time
not
traveler.
what this hot tub is.
I've never seen that show, but I imagine it's
terribly crass.
it's not a spiritual show.
No, it's not. I'm glad that you got that time. Yeah.
Me too. Thank you for creating that. It's a pretty wonderful thing you created out there.
It's a nice space out there, huh?
Yeah. I did the indoor bathtub and you did the outdoor one.
Yeah.
Look at us, teamwork.
Okay, everybody. Tell somebody about this podcast. This is a great episode. And if you struggle with your ability to connect to and receive unconditional love, and you can relate to Stephanie, then we see you. Even if you can't, we still see you. But share it. Tell somebody about the podcast and go to energyislove.love and just do all the things there. It's like a video game there. You can do a bunch of stuff.